Right, hello guys, welcome to another Unreal Engine 4 tutorial. I've actually gone back today and gone back to the AI navigation chase and roam tutorial and taken a look at that, because I do actually receive quite a lot of comments on that video asking me if I can tweak certain things or how I did certain things. I've just watched that video back and honestly that was a really poor attempt at a tutorial by me, so I first of all apologise, and I hope that you can see that the quality of my videos has definitely gone up since that video. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to try and address some of the issues in that video, but we're also going to expand on the entire AI navigation system. Now in that video I kind of left players hanging. Let me just open up the AI blueprint here. I didn't actually tell them how we could set this back to false. So if you've not watched that video, I recommend you put up with my awful presenting skills or whatever and you go back and just bear through it until you've got what we've got here. And basically what we've got is we have, when the AI sees you, it sets in range to true, it checks where the character is and it moves to the character. Now we never actually set in range back to false, which meant that if the thing saw you, it would never go back to roaming around randomly. So what I'm going to do is we're going to figure out how to get it to going back to moving around randomly. And the way that I would do that is if it moves to or fail, basically the simple fix to this I should have really figured out during the video really, but on success or fail we're just going to set in range back to false, and that should basically now allow this AI to so he's roaming around now randomly. This was just, I've just followed my own tutorial back from the video, so he's getting the random points, he's running around. If your AI seemed to stop and pause, you can change the acceptance radius to a value of something like 5 on the AI move to, and that should make him a little bit more, you know, not so pausey, because he would run and pause in the old video. So let's let him see me now. Let's get him to take a look at where I am, and he's chased. No, come on. I'm over here. Are you chasing me now? Yeah. No. Okay. So I'm guessing that that old tutorial wasn't very good. Well, we're saying we're in range to true there. Is that all hooked up? Yeah, should be. Let's take a look. Let's take another look at seeing whether he can. I'll tell you what we'll do is we'll just disconnect the roaming. We'll just see whether he chases me on pawn C or not, which he does. Okay. So we need to now get him to stop chasing me. I'm going to cover two things in this video. First of all is finishing off the last bit of that tutorial, which is getting him to go back to roaming if he doesn't see you. And the second thing we're going to cover is how to get an AI to patrol between 2 points or so. We'll start with 2. So we can put 2 points down the map and he'll patrol back and forth between the 2. So let's go ahead and jump back into this. So he should be roaming around now. Let's see if we can get him to see me. I'm over here. Hello. Hello. Oh god, okay. Just give me a minute while I catch this guy here. Hey, I'm here. You want to chase me? No? Okay. He doesn't seem to want to chase me, so we're going to figure that out first, I guess. Let's bring that back in then. So we set on range back to false. I'll tell you what, let's have a bit of a delay. If we bring in a delay there of something like 0.5 seconds, it won't be so instantaneous, instant, whatever it is, however you say that word. Anyway, so quickly again, come on, we gotta catch him now. So he sees me, he's chasing me now, he's still chasing me, and if I can slip out of his vision, he should stop for half a second, and there you go, he's back to roaming around randomly. He seems to have spotted me again. Let me see if I can get out of your vision, and back he goes to running around. So basically this first 4 minutes or so was served to say is that all you needed to do to fix that last one was to add a bit of a delay and to set the in range back to false after the on C AI move 2. So first of all, apologies for kind of slacking in those old videos. Hopefully this has cleared that up. It was just these 2 nodes, and I wish I could. I'll probably put a link to this in that description. Whatever. Anyway, so let's move on to the main part of this tutorial. I want to show you how to get it to patrol between 2 random points, or 2 points set on the map. So let's go ahead and set those points up first of all. Let's say we're going to be using target points. So if I head into all classes, no, where will they be? It's not a volume, let's just see target. So target point, okay. Let's put a target point upstairs, and then let's go ahead and put a target point up here. So he's going to patrol this upper deck. He's going to walk. Let's move this one over here a bit. So he's going to walk between these 2 points. So, you know, you can imagine he's going to come down here, move along, and back around again. Yeah, okay. So now to set that up, so we're going to jump back into the AI, and we're going to remove this random moving scenario. We're still going to keep the in-range variable. We're still going to keep the moving variable. We're still going to keep the way that he senses you. So that's going to remain from the old tutorial. Now what we are going to need to do is add a new variable. And now the variable type up here is going to be a target point. So the second one down here, target point, you want the blue one, the object reference. Target point, and we're going to name this point 1. And we're going to duplicate that, and we're going to name this point 2. So these are the 2 points you're going to roam in between. Now one thing that we do need to do is tick these here so that these variables become public, so we can edit those outside. Now let's work on the code before we go and set up those variables. So what do we want to do? So we want an event tick. I'll tell you what, instead of using ticks can be quite demanding on performance, because we don't actually need to call this every frame. We'll use an event begin play, and we'll also make a new custom event called move to location, move to point. We're going to move the custom event down here. So on event begin play, we're going to call the function move to point, which is a function that we've just created inside this blueprint. So as soon as we begin the game, it's going to call this event here, which will fire off, and we're going to start moving to our 2 points. So we want to do a flip-flop. So it's going to do A, then it'll do B, then it'll do A, then it'll do B, and it'll remember which one it's doing. So we've got A, so it's going to move to point, and then we want to call an AI move to. Let's find you. Let's just copy this one and get a reference to self in the pawn. So A is going to move to, and the target actor now wants to be target point 1. And we're going to copy this again, and on B we're going to move to target point 2. Oh no, that needs to be the target actor. The pawn needs to be a reference to self. Okay, so when this is called, it's going to go, okay, let's do A first of all, let's move to target point 1. And when it's done, it's going to say, okay, let's do B now, let's move to target point 2. And when that's done, it's going to say, okay, let's go to target point 1. So those are essentially going to hook in to calling themselves again. So there's kind of a, so on success or on fail, either of those can hook in there. And he's now going to go, okay, so when we begin the game, we're going to call this function, it's going to go through gate A, it's going to go move to target point, move to, I'm moving myself, and the target actor is going to be point 1. On success or fail of that, if I make it there or if I don't, I'm going to call it again and we're going to start moving to point 2. Now, I only want that to happen if in range is false, so actually I don't want to set that. I want a branch here. So it's only going to patrol between these 2 points if in range is false. And remember, in range gets set to true when the AI sees us, and it gets set to false when he loses sight of us. So we're going to set in range, and if in range is false, then we're going to go ahead and do this. Now when he loses sight of us, we want to call move to point again, because we don't have a tick. A tick was called every frame. Now because we're trying to save performance on this blueprint here, instead of checking every frame, every single frame, is the person in sight, are we moving, you know, instead of doing that, we're just going to call it when we need to check for it, as opposed to checking for it every single frame. First of all, I just want to quickly nip in here. I'm sorry if there are any pops on the microphone, if it gets loud or like windy pops at the minute. I've ordered a pop filter, it's in the mail somewhere, so I'll try and avoid P's and B's and stuff. Yeah, anyway. Okay, so what have we got going on? We've got the event begin play. As soon as we begin the game, he's going to call move to. That's going to bring us down here. We're going to check, are we in range? By default, that's false, so it's going to go flip-flop. We're going to do A, we're going to move to those target points. When we get there or not, we're going to move to the other target point. We're going to patrol between the 2. Now if we see the player, we're going to set in range to true so that it's going to be moving. It's going to change where it's moving to, basically. I think the best way to demonstrate this is to just go ahead and give it a go. So what I'm going to do actually is we're going to disable the pawn sensing. So I don't want him to see me at the minute. We've just disabled that link, and hopefully now that AI there should patrol between those 2 points, which he's not going to do. He's not going to do that. And I'll tell you why he's not going to do that. Because on the AI, over here somewhere under details, there, okay. You see we have 0.1 and 0.2 there, and they have nothing in them. We need to set those variables. So inside the AI, remember we had these 2 variables here, 0.1 and 0.2, and now we need to specify what he's going to patrol between. So 0.1 is going to be target point, which if we find targets, so 0.1 is there, and then we want to set 0.2. If I can find that, where have you gone? Find that. That's going to be target 0.2. So hopefully now it's going to run upstairs to the first one, and then he's going to move to the second one. And do you not want to go back to the first one? No? Okay, you do. It seems to have a bit of trouble detecting that he's at the second one. Maybe, I'm not sure if it's because it's kind of in the ground or something. Let's just move that up so we can definitely touch it and go and have another look at how he's getting on there. So he moves to the first one fine, moves to the second one fine, back to the first, and to the second. So you can see there we have kind of AI patrolling. Now, if you could always slow down his movement speed. You can imagine you've got some kind of prison camp, you've got guards patrolling back and forth outside. This is how you can specify where to patrol those. Now, the beauty of this is we can have multiple target points throughout the map. So let me put one down here. This will be target point 3, and we'll have target point 4 over there. Now, if I duplicate this AI on a per instance basis, I can change his target points to target point 3 and 4, and it does not affect this other AI over here. His are still 1 and 2. So if I hit play, the 2 AI will now move between their own random points. And you know, I've not built 2 separate classes there. That's one AI class. But because we can change the variables on a per instance basis, we can have these things patrolling between different points all on the map. And we can have as many target points as we like. We can have as many of these characters in the game as we like. Okay, let's do something a little interesting. Let's play with this. Instead of telling him to... can I do that? Let me have a quick think about how I'd do this. I didn't really plan to cover this in this video, but what I'm thinking is setting those variables automatically. So when you spawn an AI, it picks any 2 points throughout the map, and it'll patrol back and forth between them. I'm not sure how practical that is. I tell you what, let's have a go at it anyway. So we're going to get all actors of class, and that's going to be a target point. I'm going to try and rush this bit a little bit now, just because I don't know if I can actually do it. That's an array, so we want to for each, and we're going to do something twice. No, we don't want that. I want a sequence here. We're going to do this function twice, so I want to do that twice, like so. For each, you'd have to know how many target points there are on the map. Okay, unless on 0 we recorded how many there were. This is kind of experimental grounds right here. You know, I've not actually done this before, so let's just make a new variable called max target points. Okay, so on the first instance, it's going to keep going up and up and up and up, and it's going to set max target point. Oh, we're going to set it to how many there are. So this should at the minute set to 4. So we're going to quickly go ahead and debug that with an event tick, and we're going to print the value of max target points. Just a quick bit of debugging here. So when we hit play, 3. Yes, because it doesn't count 0, does it? So 3 is actually 4 because 0 is actually 1. So what instead I'll do is we will take this and we will add a 1 to it, just to get it into kind of human number terms. So that should now be a If I hadn't deleted it, it would have been a 4. Okay, so we've got between 1 and 4 target points. Let's finish working in here first of all before we go out there. So let's copy this again, and let's have a 4th for each. There is probably a more streamlined way of doing this, but I'm just kind of winging this as I go along, trying to figure this out, so do bear with me. And we want to have a branch on the body, and we want to set target point 1, and we want to set target point 2. We're going to have a branch on these two. We'll have a branch down here. So if the array index is... We need to do something else on begin play. First of all, we need to do 2 things. So we're going to call a sequence further up here. Just in case you don't know what a sequence does, it'll do 0 first and then it'll do 1. So I actually want to do something first, and I want to set 2 new variables, and this will be called point1 index. 1 index. So I've got the caps there. Let's just go ahead and name this one point2 index. And we're going to set point1 index and point2. You're going to have to forgive me for that. I've been playing quite a bit of League of Legends, and I decided to have Mundo Goes Where He Pleases as my text tone because I'm super cool. Okay, so ignoring that, do we need to set that variable? That's thrown me off where I'm at now. Set the max target points would be the first thing to do. And then the second thing to do, once we know how many there are max, then the second thing to do would be to do another sequence, and that is going to set point1 index and point2 index. And point1 index is going to be a number between, it's going to be a random integer in range, and the max is going, the minimum is going to be 1 because you know we added the 1 to it, and the max is going to be the max number of target points. So it's going to get a number between 1 and 4 in this case, and it's going to set this to it. And then we need to do that again, but we need to tell it that it can't be what index 1 is. So we need a kind of branch. We need a kind of branch that will take the random number and range there. Point index 1. Could always add 1 to it. That might be interesting. Or do I don't know. Let's just see how it works out if we set point2 index over here. So we'll set point2 index to a different value. So we'll copy this again, but it's still going to use the same inputs. So we're going to set those point variables, and if the array index is equal to that, then it's going to become true, and when it becomes true, we're going to set that as the array element there. Now what I'm going to do is I'll quickly talk through what's going on. You may understand what's going on here, you may not, so I'll stop and I'll talk through it. This really wasn't planned in the video, by the way. I really just wanted to show you how to make a patrol between those 2 points. So if this is looking a bit advanced for you, sorry. But yeah, so let's take a look at what all this does, and we'll have a walk through it. Okay, so when the game begins, we're going to call move to point first of all, which will then set him off moving to points. Wait a minute, we need to do that at the very end. Cut that out, and there doesn't even need to be a sequence there. So let's put that down over here somewhere. So when the game begins, we're going to get all actors of class. So we're going to get every single target point in the game. So let's say you've got 20 target points around the map. It's going to put them all into this array, and how it's going to index them all. Now the first thing it's going to do is it's going to say, okay, how many are there? So for each one, it's going to add this, and we're going to set max target points. And we don't need to print anything there. So it's gonna. So imagine you've got max target points is set to the value of 0. Let's say your array has 3 things in it, 3 target points on your map. So on the first one, it's going to say, okay, index is 1. max target points is 1. No, wait a minute, there's another one. We're going to overwrite that 1 and put a 2 there. Nope, there's actually a third target point. We're going to overwrite the 2 and pump that up to a 3. And that's it. There are only 3 target points. So that's how we set the max target points there. The second thing he's going to do, so okay, I finished that. Now what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to set these 2 variables here, point 1 index and point 2 index, and they are going to be a random number between 1 and the maximum. So let's say you had 3, it's going to pick 1, 2, or 3. And then the same down here, it's going to pick 1, 2, or 3 for the point 2 index. And then, okay, so we've set those indexes now. Now what do we want to do? Well, we want to come down here, and for each item, each target point there is again, we're going to compare its array index against the point 1 index. So imagine you've got your array index, you've got 3 target points on your map. Let's put it up to 4. You've got north, never reach your you've got north, east, south, and west. Okay, north being 0, east being 1, south being 2, and west being 3. Those are your indexes. They correspond to it. In fact, it might be better to bring up some kind of visual aid for this. Let me see if I can bash something up in Paint real quick, just to quickly help describe this. So you've got your 4 target points here, and when you put these into an array, they need to have some kind of defining feature. And what that is, that's an index. So when you put this into an array, so imagine you're putting this inside a big box, but you need a way of keeping them sorted. So when you put them into an array, it will assign an index. So you become 0, you become object 1, you become object 2, and you become object 3. Let's just move that off to the side a minute. So what we're doing here is we're saying, okay, point 1 index was a random number between 0 and 3, or 1 and 4. And we're now saying, okay, do you correspond with that? In fact, what that needs to be is there needs to be a +1 there. Or we can just scoop that up. Sorry, bit off track. But yeah, whatever. So we're going to say, okay, do you correspond with the number that we set you to? So we set you to a random number between 0 and 4. You do correspond to it, okay, then the array elements, what we've got here is it's going, okay, is the random number that we set 0? No. Is the random number that we set 1? No. Is the random number that we set 2? Oh look, yes it is. So it's going to set this, so it's going to take this, and it's going to pass it out of the array, which is bringing it out of the array here, and we're storing that in our other variable over here, and this variable here is our point 1 here. And then the second go again, it's going to come down, and it's going to say, okay, do you correspond with it? Is it 0? Nope. Is it 1? Yes, it was 1. Okay, so we're going to take you out and we're going to store you in a variable over here. So that's the point 2 variable. Let me just get rid of Paint now. Hope that, don't know if I really explained it well. Probably should have been a bit better prepared, but you know, there you go. Now, interestingly enough, let's see whether this actually works. The theory is all there. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag some more target points out around the map. And we're going to hit play, and hopefully now our man is just going to stand there, which is always... Oh, okay, we never actually called move to point. So on the final thing, the very last thing we're going to do is actually initiate his movement. So let's go ahead and take a look. He's picked a point there. Yep. Okay. Move to your next one. Don't let me down. Now the only thing that could have happened there is he could have picked the same point for both his point 1 and point 2. Nope. He really likes to go to that point, doesn't he? So what we're going to do is we're going to head out to the details panel for him, and we're actually just going to remove point 3 and 4 there, and just see whether he okay, so he picked a different one. He picked a different one, but he never actually started to move to it. So you moved to your point, you called that, you moved to your first, you moved to your first target point, and then you should have then flip-flopped and moved to your second one, because in range remained false, right? We never set in range up here. This is all called ones. Tick, 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 tick. I wonder if I've gone in a bit over my head here and kind of screwed up this tutorial. Point 1 and point 2. Let's just bump up the acceptance radius, give them a bit more slack. See whether, it might be because they're all in the ground again. Although they don't appear to be, do they? No, these are actually above the ground, so I'm not too sure what the issue is here. Let's just go ahead and select all of those and lower them a bit. No, he doesn't seem to be having that for whatever reason. What I'm going to do is I'm going to print the value of this, so on tick. So we're going to print. Bit of debugging going on now. We have to print the value of 0.1, and then we're going to print another string which is just essentially a line. We're going to then copy this bit, print the value of 0.2, and add another line. So let's just hit play now. So target 0.2 is on both of them, as opposed to... Okay, so it does seem to work. However, what's happening is this random integer in range is always being the same one. Why is that? Why would it always call the same one? So it works, but it doesn't work. I've identified the issue. It seems to always call the same one, which is rather odd. Let's have a branch here. So if it's equal, if that value is equal to the value of point index 1, then wait a minute, we don't want to do that on false. Then I'm just going to print something. I'm just going to print danger or hello. Let's just go with hello. So I'm looking for the word hello. It's going to get flushed off the screen almost immediately, isn't it? So target 0.2 should never be being set. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. No, it's okay. Spotted the error. All of that was fine. What's happening is a silly mistake. I actually put 0.1 index down here instead of 0.2. So let's set that up. I'm awful at these things. It's always the small things that catch you out. Let's go ahead and hit play again. Target 0.8 and target 0.6 are the 2 points that he's now picked to patrol between. We hit play again. Target 0.1 and target 0.2 are the new 2 patrol points. So it's going to move over to target 0.2 up there and then back down to 1. Let's hit play again. Target point and target 0.6, so the one on top of the stairs and wherever number 6 is. Now what we can actually do is we can put loads of these around, and these should all pick different points and all move randomly each time. So they've all picked their own individual 2 points. They're a bit colliding on the stairs there, just causing some issues. But you know, basically, there's the idea there is that they've all, and if we hit play again, they won't move in the same location. So I mean, there you go. You can see already that the patterns are different. Before we had 3 running up the stairs, now we've got 2. They're all running off, picking their separate points. Hit play again. We've only got 1 going to the stairs this time. Nope, 2 maybe. But yeah. It works basically. It was just that small error of mine. So that's how we would go about setting it to patrol between 2 specific points as opposed to picking a random point on the map and then moving to that point. I would like to do some more on AI navigation. In fact, I've recently taken on board a project that I am not allowed to tell you anything about other than that's it. I'm doing a project. And I'm going to be doing quite a lot of complex AI in there. So without referencing the project too much, what I may do is use some of my knowledge that I've learned on programming that project and bring it back and put some advanced AI tutorials in on my current YouTube channel. I'm also going to be putting a video out within the next week showing you how to set up source control, because that's something I've had to learn to collaborate with someone that I'm working on this project with. And we need to set up source control so that basically we can both work on the same project at the same time. And we'll always have a centralized version that's basically the same. So yeah, we'll just quickly take a look at what we're doing again here just to wrap up. We're getting all of the target points on the map, we're collecting how many there are, we're then picking a random number, corresponding it to a specific target point, so corresponding the index to the random number, setting those 2 random points there. That's all as soon as we spawn the actor. We should back up the pawn C actually here just to quickly test that out. We didn't actually ever test that, did we? So let's see whether they chase me. Anyone? Yep, okay, we got a couple chasing me here. And if I can get out of their line of sight, they should then go back to patrolling their random points, which they do, but they seem to spot me again. Let me see if I can... I'm not sure where I can go to get away from them, really. Okay, we've gathered them all here now. Apart from that one over there, he's happily off just doing his, just running around. But we lost sight of one there, two there. Let's see if I can scoot around the backs here and just take a peek around the corner with the camera there. So yep, there you go. Oh, hello. You can see there that that they're going back to their target points there. So I hope that's kind of cleared up what I should have cleared up first of all on the other video. And secondly, I hope that's given you an insight on how we can take a look at target points and moving between specific points on the map. Do stay tuned for more video, guys. As always, if you like the content, give me a thumbs up. If you've got any issues, please leave me a comment in the description below, in the comment section below even. I will have a link to that original video in the description below. As always, thanks for watching, guys, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.